Hey everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's on the Tube. It's been a long freaking while for me. I've been on break. It was a glorious hiatus. Well, technically I should still be on my hiatus, but so what was funny was, so Nancy Drew was supposed to air this episode last week, and then apparently I don't know what the fuck happened with the schedule. It just got pushed for the freaking, I think for baseball, I want to say. Yeah, so baseball preempted it, or something happened, and then the episode got pushed to next week, so which was this week, which kind of bummed me out since I was really hoping to have a full week off of the show so I could just, work on the Legend Talk mid-season finale as well as get the History Told drama off the wagon. I was getting all those, and as well as the other things I had to do, plus I did need a little bit of a break. And I was very bummed out, and then yesterday I was like, okay, I was ready for the episode, I was ready to go review this and then go back to work on Legend Talk and History Told drama, and then Biden's address to the nation happened, and that it also preempt Nancy Drew for us on the East Coast. So it was available on demand, it was available for the West Coast, but for us here in the East Coast, at least in the area I live in, we were unable to see the episode live. And I don't get the on-demand stuff till literally early mornings, and I was sleeping. I had to go to the gym. I had to go to work. So I am doing this at the same time I would usually be doing the Walker reviews. So with that being said, let's talk about Nancy Drew. And it's been a while, so apologize if I'm a little bit rusty. Coming back from vacation's a little bit stiff. So this was definitely a more or less a filler episode, and I use that term very loosely when I'm reviewing because I like to think every episode builds to something down the line, and I think this definitely does, but majority of it was kind of like a one-off mystery. It was kind of like just continuing development, but it wasn't really advancing the overall story, in my opinion. That doesn't make it a bad episode per se. It just definitely it doesn't. It's weird because I know filler episodes are kind of common when you're doing long TV show seasons because it's just hard sometimes to really make every episode worth it in the story. So, and plus it's fine to have these one-up episodes where you can just experiment with the format a little bit. So for this week, I definitely felt that they did a pretty good job most of the time. I think this is definitely the weakest episode of Nancy Drew, the weakest Nancy Drew episode by far. So yeah, that's kind of like my one take on it. So let's go for the butchered recap and talk about this week's episode of Nancy Drew. So we begin at the trailer park where both Nancy and Ace are finishing up some late night excursions with their new partners, the brother and sister twins. I forgot, Gil and Amanda? Yeah, Gil and Amanda. So Nancy's hooking up with Gil, and Ace is obviously in love with Amanda. So we get two different, very polar opposites. We don't get to see Gil and Nancy in action. They're just finishing up a tri-set. And Nancy's kind of trying to just get her mind off things with, last episode we saw her kind of rescinding her statement about the Hudsons, which kind of really destroyed everyone's case against the Hudsons, which means he's basically going to go off scot-free, at least in this matter. But however, Nancy's name and credibility is basically kind of in the air right now, since everyone just viewed Nancy as we trust her, we believe her, she's super smart, she always gets everything done. After this, you wouldn't be surprised someone's going to be do I really trust her now? Because if she made a mistake with the Hudson, what about the other thing? Obviously, they don't know what really is going on behind the scenes, but obviously Nancy's thinking of the long-term thing and also thinking about her safety and everyone else's safety. So that's the balance that she has to take. And Gil's obviously trying to be. They haven't established a relationship yet. They don't throw around the boyfriend-girlfriend terminology yet. They're hooking up. They have feelings for each other, but they're not in the relationship mindset yet. And then as for Ace and Amanda, they're not entirely. They definitely do really like each other. They really do. But Amanda's kind of got her mind somewhere else, as she wants to go backpacking for Europe, which is a very common 20-something-year-old thing to do, even though I'm still technically here in New York. I've only been away from the state of New York by myself for 2 weeks in my entire past 5 years. But either way, Ace is just also letting off some steam since he had a half-brother last week, as well as he just lost him last week. And it's just, yeah, things are just kind of up in the air for Ace, and Amanda's not really being a supportive girlfriend or partner per se. She's obviously feeling him, but she's not giving him like the what he really needs right now. If you understand what I mean, it's basically they're both Nancy and Ace are kind of in similar situations where like they're dealing with a lot and they're using Gil and Amanda as like not to say they don't have genuine feelings for them. I'm just saying like right now is just not the right timing for them to be exploring anything with them. I think it's the wrong time period per se. So, however, the whole thing is derailed when Amanda is looking for her cash to kind of do this backpacking trip for Europe. However, she can't find it, so she immediately goes to Gil's trailer to try and find it. She tears apart the place, while Nancy and Gil were presumably leaving on a boat trip somewhere. Or no, Nancy was going to do something else momentarily, so she was about to head off for that. And it's kind of weird, like the two dynamics, because like Nancy and Gil are definitely trying to paint this picture of like they're a good couple, and then Ace is just watching them kind of weirdly per se, in my opinion, while Amanda's just like traversing through the trailer, just trying to find this big wad of cash. Gil's trying to hid from them. Meanwhile, George is still kind of dealing with the ramifications of her dual partnership with Odette, as Odette takes over during the night shift, during when George is sleeping. So Odette's been doing some other things that isn't best related, which is organizing some stuff, throwing away some stuff, basically trying to make George's life a little bit more easier. But knowing George, she kind of likes things in a certain way. So if you disrupt that, you kind of get really bothered by it per se. I'm just making sure the audio levels are fine because I just remembered the issue with last episode. So what happens next? I believe. Yeah, this is the problem. I'm trying to remember hard here. I think we split off into two separate teams for now. Because I believe... Yeah, no, actually, no. We kind of just split off with Nancy and Ace, who have to head up to Moonshire Island. I think that's the name of it. Moonshire Island. Oh, Moonshire Island. I can't do it. I'm tired. I'm sorry. I've been up since 8 a.m. in the morning. I went to the gym. I went to work. I'm sorry if I'm repeating that so many times. I'm just tired. So if my tone just sounds so monotone. It's not because I don't generally enjoy doing this. It's just because my freaking day has pushed me to the extreme. I've already been up for 12 hours, which is not that much per se, but I'm just saying. So from there, also Amanda joins along. This is kind of like her trial run with the Drew crew. Kind of like, does she really fit into this group, so to speak, if she was going to stick around as Ace's girlfriend, which it does make sense why she would be sticking around a little bit, but we'll see how that goes. They're off exploring some mysterious... Something was wrong. I don't exactly remember why they're on this island. There's just something that's worth investigating there. And they find some weird stuff, but the thing that really puzzles them is that they arrive in this makeshift... survivor camp, and the only occupant is this young preteen girl who has a really bad cut in her leg. So Nancy tries to convince her to come back to the mainland so they can get her treated, but she definitely just wants to keep going and just stay on this island for basically ever. But however, it's just not enough, so sorry, I'm stuttering a lot. Nancy offers her, hey, I'll bring you back to the island. Just come with us. You really need to get that leg checked out. Otherwise, you might get severely injured down the line. So she submits, and they all head off back to Horseshoe Bay. Not the hospital. Let's go to Horseshoe Bay. I'm pretty sure. Also, apparently, Amanda has some degree in first aid, which is weird because like the last time we saw her she was a hotel receptionist. So I'm just curious, like, what is her job? Like, what is her job anymore? So, whatever the case, so Nancy gets everyone else involved in the matter. They're just trying to keep her fed. They're just trying to keep her, happy until they really figure out what to do. Some weird stuff keeps happening where she knocks down this actress. I think she's played by the girl that Clark called her adopted daughter in the latter half of The 100. I think that is it. And also my TV is about to... Yeah, I knew it. Mute. I need to get a new remote. This remote's kind of getting trashed. It took me like legit 5 seconds for me to even get to a pause screen somewhere. Moving on. Where do we go? Yeah, I'm freaking TV made me lose my train of thought. Yeah, so weird stuff keeps happening as her original plate of food falls onto the ground, and she just demands this grilled cheese and peanut butter sandwich, which is by far the weirdest thing I've ever heard in my entire life, to be honest with you. Actually, I'm going to turn off my TV since I have a feeling this is going to give me an issue. Um, what's next? There's also this like bird that like just keeps chirping nearby, which is kind of annoying the crew, and they're still trying to figure out what to really do with her. And then just more disturbing things happens as the bird dies when also her name's Birdie, which is a kind of a unique name for a daughter. Not what I would name my daughter, but whatever. So, damn, I'm really struggling here. I apologize. Also, this weird thing is that everyone heads into the main dining quarters for the claw, and there's these fireflies looking scenery, but it kind of just like really looks like fire, and they're kind of just realizing that okay, she's not a ghost or anything supernatural, but she has something supernatural attached to her. So that's the weird thing. So they head back to Nick's loft where they do the classic, we're going to put salt all around you in a ring so no ghost can touch you. Implement this method so the whatever ghosts are tracking them or not following suit. They do some online research and they figure out that these are fire spirits. Where they come from, I really don't know. Well, actually, no, we do know. There was apparently this incident way before years ago, like not years ago, decades, centuries ago, around the 1812 period, where there were some boats nearby the island, and they all got attacked and bombarded and were up in flames, and then so they all died. So I'm presuming their ghosts kind of like passed on to the island and kind of like they're haunting that for the rest of their lives as as punishment for their the way they went out. So and then the girl came from another experience from, I think this is the reason why Nancy was investigated, that there was a boat fire or something nearby, so something was amiss and she went missing and that sort of thing. I think that's how it went. I apologize. Again, this is a butchered recap. You can go watch the episode if you want to avoid me talking about this. Also, the tea does help me kind of like fix my mind up a little bit. Moving onwards, we do get to see... What do we get to see? They're trying to figure this out, and their initial expectation is that the ghosts, these spirits are evil. They're trying to bring her back to the island as whatever, like, as their captive or something. I really don't know. Well, we don't know at the moment. So their only plan is like, okay, we need to get rid of these fire spirits from her. So they're trying to do everything they can to separate the two. I think that they do find a ceremony, like some sort of like memorabilia or something. I really don't know what the ceremony was, but they get this giant bottle that could definitely fit a pirate ship, like one of those miniature pirate ships. Which I never understand how you even get that in. I really don't understand. So, okay, so they do the ritual. There's a thunderstorm. I believe Nancy takes the bottle so that she can get the fire souls into the bottle. It ends up partially burning her jacket off into some of her skin. But they separate the souls from Birdie. So there you go. You assume mystery solved. And Nancy even goes to drop her off at Birdie's aunt and uncle to kind of become her new caregivers. And Nancy leaves them alone since like there's a lot of readjustment to do, which is fairly fair. So we start getting back to the other subplots where, also I forgot to mention, Nick is not happy with Nancy's decision to overturn her her testimony, which definitely kind of like ruins Nick and oh damn, what was his name? Ryan's plan to go and take down Mr. Hudson. That definitely kind of screws over their plans. So from there on, going back to it, I think they're not done investigating. I know Nancy brings along Ace and Amanda for something else later on. I know we get that, but I think first George just has a basic flat out with Odette. She's also like, this episode we don't really get much of George Odette. We get more of we see a reflection or something in the shot, and then Odette's just behind talking to George. That's kind of how they're communicating from now on. So they're talking, and George does definitely want Odette to kind of set some boundaries with Bess, since yes, even though Odette is inhabiting George's body, it's still George's body in the end. And being with Bess would kind of create this weird, conflict, because, Bess would love Odette George, but Odette's and George's bodies. So that kind of violates the relationship with Nick. I think that's how you phrase it. I don't exactly know how to phrase this. I never heard of a situation like this, to be honest with you, so I apologize. I don't have any much insight into this situation. So from there, no, that's a scene for later. Never mind. But what we do get back into is that I believe we're back at the Claw. Nancy still thinks something's weirdly up because some things are not lining up as per usual with any mystery that solves early. This doesn't line up. And they're about to start doing some more online research when Amanda kind of requests for Nancy to change her bandages, which she does, but it's burned in the edge of her back forearm that it says something. It says something relating to the group that died in a fire near the island back in the 1800s. So they realize, this is kind of weird. So the boat that involved Birdie's parents from dying, or at least Birdie's dad, is not the same fire that the Fire Soul people would use. So there's definitely some issues there, and something's not lining up. So they get a lead that a mechanic, a boat mechanic or boat repair dude, I don't know, which is ironically the same person who the uncle of Birdie owns. So they head over there. They crack into a safe. Nancy and Ace have kind of like another weird. This is a weird frame shot moment where like Nancy and Ace are like really close to each other, and we get this weird shot of Amanda just looking. It's like the camera dolly dude just actually forgot not to. I thought this was a mistake, but later on we do get a little bit of a clarification on this. So they crack open the safe, and it turns out there's a lot of falsified records and a lot of secret. Secret transfers and secret deposits, laundering money. So they're assuming that Birdie's dad found out about this, and that's how he got killed. Birdie just happened to sadly be an unfortunate consequence, but now they have these papers in hands, they can now use it against the uncle to kind of really figure out what's going on. But before we get that even further, Birdie goes missing, so Nancy goes off to go and find her. And for some reason, Ace and Amanda head back to the Claw. For some reason, I completely forgot what the reason was. Amanda just straight up asks Ace, have you ever hooked up with Nancy before? And Ace is like, no, she's just my friend. And Amanda's like, no worry, I won't mind. She's foxy. And also, that was pre-you and me, so that's kind of weird. Gil shows up. I completely forgot Gil was in this episode. I really did forget when he came back into the episode, I was thinking, what is he doing here? And Amanda also just again asks him where's my money, and Gil's like, why do you want it so bad? And Amanda just basically fets up and says, I want to go backpacking for Europe. I want to go travel. And Gil's like, that's a very stereotypical 20-year-old move to do. And things are not great for Gil and Amanda. They definitely leave that unresolved in the moment. So I think from there, Nancy does. No. So Nancy heads goes to the house. Birdie's uncle and aunt, or Birdie's uncle, this other family house, and the cops are immediately pushing Nancy away because they don't trust her, which is fair because Nancy definitely kind of just shattered everyone's confidence in her with the whole backtracking of the Hudson thing. So it's not surprising, but Nancy's appalled a little bit because she's normally not used to this type of rejection. But eventually she does get a lead to where Birdie might be, so she heads over there to the docks where Birdie wants to head back to the island to kind of go see the Fire Souls. And she doesn't want to be... It's kind of the same survivor's guilt or the same guilt or some sort of aftermath that Nancy was going through pre the show, where Nancy survived and witnessed her mother dying, and Birdie kind of went through something similar, and they're both thinking, how do we move past after this? How do we move on? And they both have interesting points. They definitely do, because if you really think about it, how does Birdie move on from a life without at least her dad? I don't know the mom went to. That part I didn't really get, or I didn't hear, sorry. But for Birdie, it's just... She doesn't know if she can handle it, but Nancy's like, look, I know you can do it. Anyone can do it, and, you can prove to them that you could still move on from this and still become something, which is enough to convince Birdie to not go to the island, but she does let go of the Fire Souls and give them one final farewell so they can go back to the island and that sort of thing. It was actually a little bit of a heartwarming moment. Nancy leads Birdie back home. That somehow is enough to build back her credibility with the officers a little bit. So that case is resolved. I do believe we get another scene with Ace and Amanda. I think Ace is just calming down Amanda. They kiss. I believe that's how the scene goes. George Odette pays Bess a visit, and they're just there to hang out. Like, Odette is understanding of George's limitations on how far she wants us to go with Bess. But the way Odette said Netflix and chill, I'm like, oh god, they're gonna start hooking up casually, aren't they? But no, they're just watching a movie. They're actually just Netflixing and chill. Netflixing and chilling. So, well, actually, was that the original terminology? I really don't know anymore. And then we get a scene where Nancy's just kind of like just looking back on the entire day and just like once again just taking a deep breath and just looking at everything that's happened recently. Ace goes to comfort her, and Ace is like basically saying like, "Hey, look, Gil's not good for you. He's a little bit controlling. I don't think he's the right person you should be with right now." I honestly thought this was the kind of like the setup for like Nancy, for Ace to kind of admit maybe some secret feelings he had for Nancy. Whether or not they explore that route, I don't think they will, considering the fact they definitely would have made this a little bit more obvious by this point. But they didn't, so I'm gonna leave it there. But Nancy basically doesn't really accept what Ace has to say, and he leaves. Nancy heads back inside the claw. She talks to Nick for a second. This is all about mostly like Nancy and this kind of like current mindset where she just kind of like really broke her credibility with people. She's still kind of like figuring out what to do next. She's really just, her focus is getting into the Hudsons so that she can take them down from the inside, but she's not 100% of herself right now, if you know what I mean. It's like there's definitely something missing of the real Nancy that we're missing here. Even when Nancy leaves the claw, Nick gives Ryan a call and says that, yeah, Nancy's gone. That like something is wrong with Nancy. That she might be getting too deep. But that's where we end off the episode of the week. Again, I do think this episode was still good. It was still a good episode. I'm not really a big fan of filler episodes at times, especially on shows that I don't really feel fine if we get filler episodes. I rather we get some sort of like real major progression. This definitely felt like more of a character piece, but at moments it definitely did feel like a filler episode per se. And I'm very surprised at how little of the whole escaped items and ghosts and ghouls and spirits from the episode 6 we haven't gotten to scene yet. Like, it's very weird for me because like I really thought they were just going to do this for the entire run of the show, or at least for another 3 seasons, but no, we're apparently we haven't even gotten to that yet. So I'm like, they know what they're doing, so I give them time and I trust them to do this. Will Nancy actually get back to normal? Hopefully soon, because like I think we're down to the final 5 episodes by this point. If the whole 18 episodes this season thing is true, that we will be approaching the end soon. So I do definitely believe Nancy will come back at some point. Then from there, I believe the George Odette stuff is getting a little bit more interesting. I definitely do think they're just trying to find some equality living, so to speak, right now. It definitely does suck that Odette is going to have to give up something with Bess because she wants to respect George's wishes with the whole please don't do anything romantic with my friend type of thing. So I respect her on doing that. Whether or not Amanda or Gil is going to be a long stay of the series, I really don't know, because like we're getting so many different portraits and directions for them that I don't even know they'll be here past season 2. I really don't know. It can go either way. But overall, I still really liked this episode. I really did. I also love the focus more on Ace this week. I really did. This was definitely deserved since like everything he's been through in the last couple of weeks. This definitely was something we really needed for him right now. So I really did like it, but I still did not like the fact this was a filler episode through and through. And I know I never mentioned that in other reviews, but I think right now, with kind of where we're at in the mystery, I don't think we need that sort of thing. Like, I know like every episode I said before, kind of like we are progressing, and this is progressing, and it kind of is, but this definitely had some feels of a filler episode per se. But I give this episode 1 thumb and 3/4.5. I was really trying to beat this yawn for the past 25 minutes, and I could not definitely do it. I could not. Sorry about that. But again, that's what I think of this week's episode. Let me know in the comments below. What did you think of this episode of Nancy Drew? Let me know in the comments below. And I think that's going to do it for me tonight because I feel very tired. So if you're unaware, this has been What's on the Tube from ActionX, reviewing every episode of the second season of Nancy Drew. If you want to know what we're doing overall in Nancy Drew besides those episode reviews, we're doing Walker episode reviews each and every Friday mornings, or normally this would be the time slot, but because of the delays, we have to push back. Normally we would have a Walker episode reviews this time slot after a brand new episode on Thursday nights on the CW, or free the next day on the CW app. Walker thankfully was on hiatus this week. We'll be back next week with the next episode. We also do Rookie Season 3 episode reviews each and every Monday mornings after a brand new episode on Sunday nights on ABC or on Hulu the next day. We're back also this Monday for the Rookie, and then thankfully, we have a big episode to tackle on, so I really can't wait for that. As well as, but however, we're normally doing, I forgot my moniker. I really did. Also, just some What's on the Tube updates for you because some stuff happened today in the recording session. So right now we have the confirmed return date for Stargirl. It will be landing on the CW on Tuesday nights in August, which means yes. I have no idea what's going on by then. I know we are doing High School Musical, the music of the series review starting on May 15th. So that will be in about a couple weeks for us, so stay tuned for that. But however, I have no idea where we'll be by then. I think by then we should be wrapping up High School Musical, if what I'm aware of the episode order is, so we should be wrapping it up by then. I definitely know Walker, Nancy Drew, and Rookie will be done with their current seasons by then too. So again, I have no idea where things are going to be by then. I really don't know. But Stargirl will be returning on August, and we will be reviewing every episode of the second season of that show. As well as we are going to be planning out our Arrow every season reviewed return around that same time period, and then Doctor Who will be back in November. So there you go. Now that we have dates, we can tell you about stuff. Of course, we don't know about Doom Patrol. We don't know about Perry Mason. We don't know about what was the other show we reviewed? I forgot. What was the other show? I know we reviewed another show, or did we? Okay, but either way, that's going to do it for me tonight. But again, if you're unaware, this has been What's in the Tube from ActionX. If you want to see more of us, please subscribe to ActionX on youtube.com/ActionX. Ring that bell for a notification when our next episode review is live for Nancy Drew, which is normally every Thursday mornings. Like, favorite, share this episode review if you want to. It does help us get us out to other members of the Drew Crew fandom who has yet to discover us. Helps us beat up that YouTube algorithm that always tries to kill me. And also, sharing is for free. Please follow us on social media to stay up to date with any sort of updates for the channel. And until next time, for all you members of the Drew Crew, I'll see you all next week for the next episode review. But until then, stay safe out there, be good to each other, and as always, peace out.